Okay, here we are with the 2020 quilt and block 3. So today we're going to continue with our half square triangles. However, we're going to need 8 of them today instead of 4. And this time we're adding in rectangles that would be the same size as 2 smaller squares sewn together. Today with block 3, we're going to be talking about the 8-pack half square triangles. Seeing as block 3 uses 8 half square triangles, it seemed like the perfect time to put this technique to use. So in your pattern, typically in the first 2 blocks that we did, I had you for the half square triangles cut 3-inch squares, either draw your line and stitch or cut them and stitch and then square them up. I've given you the sizes to do the same thing here. However, we're also going to show you a new technique called the 8-pack half square triangles. It's a great block to try it on because we need 8 half square triangles for this block. So this method, we're going to take 2 larger squares. We're going to be drawing an X in both directions, corner to corner, layering those 2 squares, and then I'm going to be sewing on both sides 1/4 inch away along both of those lines. So here I have my 2 squares. There is this chart you will be able to download for yourself that's going to give you all the different sizes for all the different blocks you may want to make. Again, we want to finish with 2-inch squares for this project. So I'm going to start by cutting a 6-inch square, one of each color, in order to make my 8 half square triangles. So on one of those blocks, I've drawn my line. I'm going to stack them up, right sides together, and now I'm going to go and sew that 1/4 inch seam along both sides of both lines. If you don't want to cut in between, if you pull it out a little bit and always turn it to your right side, give yourself a little tail, you can just scoot it right back under. Okay, now we need to go cut them apart. All right. For this method, the first thing I need to do is cut my block in half down the center and side to side. This was a 6-inch block, so I'm going to put it on my 3-inch mark, which is half of the block. I can double check that I should be cutting at my intersection here, my cross here, and my intersection here. I want to try to be real careful when I pick up my ruler not to move anything so I can cut the other direction. Again, double checking my intersections, double checking my 3-inch mark. And now I can take these 4 and cut them right on my drawn line. Okay, so there are my 8 half square triangles, and I just need to iron them.
This is week 3.
Yeah. All right, so I'm squaring up all my blocks. So For time, I'm just going to make 1/4 of the block right now. So I'm going to take my two squared up half square triangles, and this time I need to make sure that they're oriented so that I wanted my black in the middle and my reds to the outside. So I need to make sure that one red one is pointed up and one red one is pointed down. So I need to make 4 sets that look like that. And then once those two are sewn together, I'm going to add one of my rectangles onto it. So I'm going to make 4 units like this. So there is my 2 half square triangle units sewn together. Now I'm going to add my 4.5 by 2.5 rectangle. Whenever I'm sewing, and if I have one piece that has no seams and one side that has seams, I always like to sew with the seam side up so that I can watch it as I'm going to make sure that nothing is flipping into a different direction than I want it to go. All right, now I'm going to go press this open, and I would make 4 blocks exactly the same. I'm going to take my block, and again I'm going to make sure that it squares up to that 4.5 inch that I want it to be. All right. So after I have my 4 blocks, I'm going to be working with this top rectangle, and I'm going to make sure that as I sew them together, they're just a 1/4 turn each time. I'm going to sew my 2 top ones together, my 2 bottom ones together, and then sew that center seam down the middle. It's a fun way to make 8 half square triangles all at one time. Again, my other blocks in my other colorways. This was my 12 fat quarter group. And this was my scrappy one. If you notice, I decided to make my centers 2 different colors, just for the fun of it. I did that by making this set of half square triangles and this set of half square triangles. And then over here I made this set, so I made 2 sets that look like this and 2 sets that look like that. You can always change things up. These are your blocks. Have fun with playing with your different fabrics.